Okay, so let's dive into this. We're looking at a moment in history that it pivots from this amazing collective victory to the very brink of a civil war.
Yeah, we're in Joshua chapter 22. The conquest of Canaan is basically done.
Right, the tribes are finally settling their land, things seem calm, and then 3 of the tribes start building something.
And that's where it all kicks off.
So the setup is immediately dramatic. You have the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh. They're the ones who settled east of the Jordan River.
They're heading home.
And just before they cross over for good, they build what the sources call an altar of imposing size. And it's right there on the western bank, so it's on the main side of Canaan.
What's so fascinating here is the reaction. It is immediate and explosive.
They don't even send a scout to ask what's going on.
No, the moment the news hits, the entire assembly gathers at Shiloh, and they are literally preparing for war against their own people.
So the mission for you, listening, is to really get why this act, which seems kind of religious, was seen as a capital offense, a breach of faith.
Exactly. Why did building an altar almost start a war?
It's such a paradox. They built an altar, a place for worship, you'd think, and it leads to 9.5 tribes mobilizing for bloodshed.
They saw it as a full-blown rebellion against the Lord.
Okay, so to stop a war before it starts, they send an official delegation, a really high-level one.
And who they send tells you everything you need to know about how serious this was.
It was led by Phinehas the priest.
Phinehas. Now, why him? Because he was the man who, decades earlier, had stopped a plague at the incident of Peor by taking decisive action against sin.
So his presence alone is a message.
It's a huge message. It's basically saying, we think this is that kind of rebellion, the kind that gets people killed by God's judgment.
Wow. So when they arrive, they don't beat around the bush.
Not at all. They get straight to the point. What is this breach of faith? Are you turning away from the Lord by building yourselves an altar?
So the core issue was that it was an unauthorized altar.
Exactly. The law was clear. All sacrifices, all official worship had to happen at one central place. At that time, it was the tabernacle in Shiloh.
So building another one somewhere else.
It was seen as creating a rival religion. It would fracture the nation not just politically, but theologically. It was a direct challenge to God's authority.
Okay, so this wasn't a zoning dispute. This was sedition.
Absolutely, and that's why the accusation moved so quickly from the act itself to the historical consequences of things like it. They were terrified.
And they bring up specific examples, right?
Oh yeah, they bring up the heavy stuff. They immediately invoke the sin at Peor, which brought that horrible plague on the entire nation. And then they bring up Achan.
Achan's sin, that's the one where he privately stole some devoted items from a conquered city.
Right, a private sin. But what happened? The entire congregation suffered. They lost a battle, and innocent soldiers died because of his one act.
So that's the key. For them, sin was never just a personal issue.
It was a communal disease, a contagion. If one part of the body is sick, the whole body is at risk. They believed God's wrath would fall on all of them.
So they felt they had to act immediately to, quarantine the rebellion?
Or cut it out completely, even if it meant a war against their own kin. That's how deeply they believed in corporate responsibility.
And their solution, the offer they make is just incredible.
It's astounding. They basically tell them, look, if you feel your land is unclean, if that's why you built this altar, just abandon it.
Just leave your inheritance, the land you fought for.
Yes. Come over the Jordan and take land among us, near the Lord's real tabernacle. They were willing to completely disrupt the settlement of the entire nation.
Just to get rid of one unauthorized building.
It shows you that theological purity was more important to them than real estate.
That really lays the central tension bare. This massive crisis. It's all caused by one structure, but it's driven by this very real living memory of how disobedience brought disaster to everyone.
Yeah, this story is ultimately about a kind of hypervigilance. This generation, they knew the danger of what you could call tolerated compromise. Anything that pulled them away from a unified focus on God was a life or death threat.
So considering how quickly they were willing to gather for war to protect the holiness of their community, it leaves you with a final thought. We tend to view our own compromises, our hidden habits, as strictly personal things. But what if they aren't? What compromises do we tolerate in ourselves, thinking they only affect us, that might actually be poisoning relationships or leading a whole group away from faithfulness?
That's a powerful question, something to think about.